Genesis 1:1, In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. In this opening verse of the Bible, we are introduced to the concept of a divine creator, God, who is responsible for the creation of the heavens and the earth. The phrase "in the beginning" refers to the start of time, as we understand it, and sets the stage for the rest of the creation story. Genesis 1:2, The earth was without form, and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. This verse describes the initial state of the earth as being formless and empty, with darkness covering the surface of the deep waters. The Spirit of God is presented as a divine presence, hovering over the waters, implying that God's creative energy is about to be unleashed. Genesis 1:3-5, Then God said, Let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Here, we see God's first act of creation, the creation of light. God simply speaks it into existence, demonstrating his immense power and authority. He sees that the light is good and separates it from darkness, giving them names, day and night. The passage also introduces the concept of a day, consisting of an evening and a morning, marking the first day of creation. Genesis 1:6-8, Then God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. On the second day, God creates the firmament, also known as the sky or heavens, which separates the waters above from the waters below. This division establishes the earth's atmosphere and lays the groundwork for the creation of dry land and the appearance of plant and animal life. Genesis 1:9-13, Then God said, Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself, on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day. On the third day, God gathers the waters together, allowing dry land to appear. He names the dry land earth and the gathered waters seas. Then, God commands the earth to produce vegetation, including grass, herbs, and fruit trees, each according to its kind. This introduces the concept of reproduction, with each plant yielding seeds to create more of its kind. God sees that it is good, and the third day of creation comes to an end. Genesis 1:14-19, Then God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. On the fourth day, God creates the sun, moon, and stars to serve as lights in the sky, separating day from night, and providing a means for marking time, such as days, seasons, and years. The sun and moon are referred to as the greater light and lesser light, respectively. They are also given the purpose of ruling over the day and night. Once again, God sees that his creation is good, and the fourth day comes to a close. Genesis 1:20-23, Then God said, Let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. So the evening and the morning were the fifth day. On the fifth day, God commands the waters to be filled with various living creatures, and the skies to be filled with birds. He creates sea creatures and winged birds, each according to its kind. God then blesses these creatures, instructing them to be fruitful and multiply, filling the seas and the earth. As with the previous days, God sees that his creation is good, and the fifth day ends. Genesis 1:24-31, Then God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth, each according to its kind, and it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image, in the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, See, I have given you every herb that yields seed which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. Also, to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. On the sixth day, God commands the earth to bring forth various types of living creatures, such as cattle, beasts, and creeping things. He creates these animals, each according to its kind, and sees that it is good. Then, God decides to create mankind in his own image and likeness, granting them dominion over all other creatures on earth. He creates both male and female, blessing them and instructing them to be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. God then provides plants and fruits as food for humans, and green herbs for the animals. At the end of the sixth day, God surveys all that he has created and deems it very good. Genesis 2:1-3, Thus the heavens and the earth, and all the host of them, were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. After 6 days of creation, the heavens and the earth are complete, and God rests on the seventh day. This act of resting serves as the foundation for the concept of the Sabbath, a day of rest and worship. God blesses and sanctifies the seventh day, setting it apart as a special day in recognition of his completed work. Genesis 2:4-7, This is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, before any plant of the field was in the earth and before any herb of the field had grown. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground, but a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. In this passage, the focus shifts from the broader creation narrative to the specific creation of mankind. The Lord God forms man from the dust of the ground, signifying that humans are intimately connected to the earth. Then, God breathes life into the man's nostrils, transforming him into a living being. This act illustrates the unique relationship between God and humanity, as well as the divine spark within each person. Genesis 2:8-9, The Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. After creating man, the Lord God plants a garden in Eden, which serves as a perfect and beautiful environment for the man to live in. Within the garden, God causes various trees to grow, including the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. These two trees will later become central to the story of humanity's fall from grace. Genesis 2:15-17, Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. God assigns the man the responsibility of tending and caring for the Garden of Eden. He also gives him a commandment to abstain from eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, warning that disobedience would result in death. This commandment sets up a test of obedience for the man, as well as a boundary between him and God. As you continue to explore the Bible, you'll encounter stories that further demonstrate God's love, mercy, and expectations for humanity. Remember to pause and reflect on each passage, seeking to understand its meaning and application in your own life. Genesis 2:18-20, And the Lord God said, It is not good that man should be alone, I will make him a helper comparable to him. Out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called each living creature, that was its name. So Adam gave names to all cattle, to the birds of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper comparable to him. In this passage, the Lord God recognizes that it is not good for man to be alone. He decides to create a suitable helper or companion for him. Before doing so, God brings all the animals he has created to Adam, giving him the responsibility of naming them. This process underscores humanity's dominion over the animal kingdom. However, despite the presence of all these creatures, there is still no suitable helper for Adam among them. Genesis 2:21-25, And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh in its place. Then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. To create a suitable companion for Adam, the Lord God causes him to fall into a deep sleep. During this sleep, God takes one of Adam's ribs and forms a woman from it. This act signifies the intimate connection between man and woman, as well as their complementary nature. When Adam awakes and sees the woman, he recognizes her as part of himself, declaring her to be bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This passage also introduces the concept of marriage, as it describes a man leaving his parents and becoming one flesh with his wife. At this point in the story, both Adam and his wife are naked and unashamed, representing their innocence and the absence of sin in the Garden of Eden. As you continue through the Bible, keep in mind the themes and lessons presented in these early passages. They serve as a foundation for understanding humanity's relationship with God and each other, as well as the consequences of disobedience and the hope of redemption.